It is about time to head out to Evanston, Ann Arbor, and Iowa City. Remember, go to btn.com/gamefinder. It'll tell you which channel you can find your game on in your area. We'll see you at the half.
Thanks, Dave. Big doings today at the Big House. An absolutely gorgeous September afternoon here in Ann Arbor, getting ready for UMass and Michigan. Just moments ago, the Michigan Marching Band with their world-famous pregame show. That is so special. Welcome, everyone, to Michigan Stadium and Big Ten Network football, presented by John Deere. Today, the UMass Minutemen playing 60 minutes of football against the 17th-ranked Michigan Wolverines. Once again, an absolutely packed house here at the Big House as Michigan looks to run their home winning streak to 10 in a row. Brady Hoke, second-year head coach for Michigan. He has never lost as the head man of the Wolverines. Michigan now in its 133rd year of football, and some things, they never change. It's a history of winning and excellence, and here come the Michigan Wolverines. Well, the Michigan football game is always so special. Glad to have you along for the ride. Alongside my partner, Derek Rackley, I am Eric Collins. Michigan Wolverines, 2 games in the books already. Of course, they lost that opening game against Alabama. No shame in that. They're really good. Last week, a win against Air Force, but for the most part, only one guy for Michigan with that wow factor so far this year. That's Denard Robinson.
Another sensational performance by Denard last week. Vintage Denard Robinson, over 400 yards of total offense and 4 total touchdowns. One of those coming to his new weapon in tight end Devin Funchess. He's one of the most electrifying players in college football. Literally a touchdown waiting to happen on every single snap. What I'm looking for this afternoon is for him to get the next step in the passing game. Get guys like Roy Roundtree, Jeremy Gallen, Devin Gardner, get those guys going through the air.
Yeah, the Michigan Wolverines, this is kind of a trap game. You want to win this game. You want to do it convincingly because you got a game next week against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yeah, and both sides really need to make improvement from their first 2 games, defensively and offensively. They got a great opportunity this afternoon.
And we shall see if the Michigan Wolverines can do a little bit better. Some of the things that they really struggled at last week against Air Force in particular, you mentioned it. They've got to get someone running the football effectively, not named Denard Robinson.
We know what Denard can do, but Fitzgerald Toussaint back in the lineup, of course. They need to get him going. Vincent Smith is another guy that they like out of the backfield. The running game outside of Denard really needs to make progress today.
Game number 3 on the year for the Michigan Wolverines. This is the second home game, and this is the second time in school history that Michigan has hosted the Massachusetts Minutemen. Last time UMass was here in town, it was 2010, and the game was a whole heck of a lot closer than Wolverine fans would have liked. We'll get to more of that in a bit, but now here is today's national anthem.
As Michigan's Associate Director of Orchestras, Professor Christopher Lees leads the Michigan Marching Band in our national anthem.
Yeah, just a wonderful day for Big Ten football here in Ann Arbor. Michigan hosting the UMass Minutemen as we speak. Michigan, the 17th ranked team in the country. Brady Hoke's only loss so far this year. Coming against the Alabama Crimson Tide, they are very good, as we have seen so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. Third member of our crew is Lisa Byington. Today her sideline reports are brought to you by Best Buy. Lisa, take it away.
Thanks, Eric. Coach, you said Fitz Toussaint in the ground game have to be a priority. What changes for you today to generate success there?
Well, I think we just got to call his number a little more often and maybe get some of the two-back stuff that we've got in play, and we just got to block better. We got to play better. We got to have more intensity as a football team.
You said this team has not scratched the surface for its potential. What do you need to see to get closer to your expectations?
60 minutes of Michigan football, and that means controlling the line of scrimmage, getting 11 helmets to the football.
That's simple. Thank you.
Thanks.
Lisa, thank you so much. Wonderful job. While we have a moment, let's take a look at today's Avis keys to victory. Derek, what do you have?
Yeah, let's start with UMass right here. I think this is a game where they can go ahead and take some chances on offense, go down the football field, maybe try to use some reverses, pull out some deception. And for Michigan, you just heard it for Brady Hoke. They got to get Fitzgerald Toussaint going. 8 carries, 7 yards last week. When this offense was performing at its best in 2011, it's when they got him going in the running game.
Here's our coin toss.
And defend the north end zone. Gentlemen, good luck. Play hard.
And they have decided that they want the football. Well, Charlie Molnar now in his first year as a head coach. Longtime assistant, 28 years. He's been in college football. This is first as a head coach. Longtime assistant to a familiar name, Brian Kelly. Each of the last 6 years, he's been working with Brian Kelly. Last 2 years in Notre Dame. Before that, Cincinnati. Before that, Central Michigan.
Yeah, proven programs, known for their offensive production, so he's bringing that here to UMass. But as you mentioned, first year here at UMass, FCS to transition to FBS, tough task ahead of him.
Now, the weather won't be tough on anyone. This is what you draw up in Central Casting. 70 miles per hour, a bit of humidity, sunny skies. It's going to be a fast track here at Michigan Stadium. Last time they played, 2010. And Michigan won, but they were tested. UMass put 37 points on them. Michigan is going to start on offense. So UMass will kick it off from the 35-yard line. And the kick is out of bounds. Wow, not a good kick at all. That'll be a penalty. It'll be wonderful starting field position for Denard Robinson and the Wolverines. Here is Denard Robinson, now playing his senior year, and he just keeps moving up methodically on the Michigan all-time rankings.
Yeah, Eric, it seems like every week he ends up moving up Michigan and NCAA and FBS rankings. Just a sensational athlete. Again, what we talked about earlier in the telecast, what I want to see from him, obviously a lot of turning around and giving the ball to Fitz Toussaint, but making a step in the passing game, just 49% on his passes so far this year.
Denard is the reigning Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, honored for his performance last week against Air Force. And just like we expected, they want to start early and often with Fitzgerald Toussaint. He has the carry, picks up 3. Let's take a look at the big fellas in front of him, paving the way. Taylor Lewan, Jr. from Scottsdale, Arizona, continually grades out as the best among these 5 linemen for Michigan. Backs and receivers, going to see a lot of Fitz Toussaint. Already has a carry. Redshirt junior from Youngstown didn't play in week 1 against Alabama and really didn't get going in week 2 against Air Force. 3 receivers set. They fake it to Toussaint. Denard with the carry, and he's across the 50-yard line. Now, as much as you want to give it to Toussaint, get him all lathered up, sometimes you just got to keep it with your best player.
Well, they're always going to run that zone read right there. And Denard, you can see he held on to this read a little bit longer than normal, trying to make sure that defense commits. He's going to pull it down because he knows that he's got the ability to make plays once he gets into the open field.
Pick up a 13 yards for Denard Robinson. So a fresh set of downs. The ball has crossed the 50-yard line. Toussaint still in the backfield next to Robinson. And they delay the handoff to him. Toussaint across the 45 down to the 42. Pickup of 7. Let's take a look at the Auto Owners starting defense for UMass. Up front, you got Kevin Byrne, Galen Clemens, Charles Thompson, and Stanley Andre. They're going to rotate about 8 guys in. Linebacking core has been a problem with Hilliard, McIntyre, and Brandt. And in the secondary, they're really high on their corners. They think they have Big Ten level corners. There's Antoine Tharp and Randall Jett. He can fly. Redshirt freshman with size and speed. They're comfortable at the corners. 3 straight runs for the Wolverines. Here's our first pass. Little dump off. It's the tight end, Kwiatkowski. Mike Kwiatkowski with his first college start. He's replacing an injured Brandon Moore.
Seen a little bit of Al Borges' West Coast offense. It's just called a stick route here. They clear out with 1 tight end, and they get Kwiatkowski just running a 5 to 6 yard stick route. Denard reads it perfectly, gives him the ball in zone coverage, and moves the chains once again.
With that pass and catch, Denard Robinson has just passed Tom Brady in career passing yards at Michigan. Now taking some time at the line. Denard wants to throw it again. Man wide open. This is going to be a touchdown. The other tight end, Devin Funches. Devin Funches, true freshman from Farmington Hills, Michigan. He has come on in the last 2 weeks. 5-play drive. The freshman Funches with the touchdown grab, his second of his young career.
Yeah, he had an outstanding game last week against Air Force. 4 catches over 100 yards and a touchdown. And Al Borges told us that they're going to feature him in the passing game. He showed enough last week what he's got the ability to do in the passing game, and you can see Denard and him already got a nice little connection as Funches just comes wide open in the middle of the field. Look at the size that he has. He's just going to be a mismatch for any defense that he goes against.
First 3 plays of the game for Michigan, all runs. They pick up 23. Last 2 plays, Robinson goes to the skies. and they pick up 42 yards and the score.
Yeah, they got a little bit of both of what we were talking about. Got the ball in the hands of Fitz Toussaint early, got him going a little bit, and then start to make improvements in that passing game. There's enough personnel here for Denard and company to be really good as a passing team. They just need more work. They didn't get it in the last 2 games.
This Funchess kid has really come on in the last 8 days.
Yeah, he had 4 catches last week, none of them going for less than 21 yards. Ended up with a touchdown, over 100 yards. Big Ten Freshman of the Week last week. And as I mentioned, Al Borges said, you know what, he showed us enough last week that we've got to find ways to get the football in his hands. He's just a mismatch at 6'5", 230 pounds as a freshman.
True freshman. Another kickoff from the 35-yard line. Matt Wild drives that out of the back of the end zone. And UMass will start on offense for the first time. Minutemen have struggled offensively. They've got a redshirt freshman quarterback in Mike Wegson. Take a look at his numbers. 18 completions a week ago against Indiana. That 16-yard touchdown run, it is the only touchdown scored so far this year for the Minutemen.
Yeah, they've really struggled in both the run game and the pass, and it's not going to be any easier coming into this environment going against the defense. I think it's safe to say that Michigan's defense has had their struggles this year, but they still have superior talent than UMass's offense.
Next to Wegson in the backfield is former Michigan Wolverine Mike Cox, and they give it to Cox. And a nice little run for him. Pick up a 5, still on his feet. Flag is down late, and Cox is dragged down eventually by Jordan Kovacs.
Coach has told us that Mike Cox has that combination of speed and strength. You can see him breaking numerous tackles for Michigan.
Penalty.
Michigan's actually been a really good tackling football team even this year. You can see the strength that Cox brings to this offense.
Now this is going to go against UMass. So a positive start offensively is going to be wiped out. Looked like John Wallace, the left guard, called for the hold. Wegson wants to throw. It's complete. Little dump off to Deion Walker. And they get back 6 yards. Take a look at the offensive line for the Minutemen. They're hoping for improved line play because of Anthony Dima's return. Didn't play in the first 2 weeks. This is a guy who's got a lot of starting experience. He'll be trying to pave the way for Michael Cox, who spent 4 years here at Michigan. He graduated last spring, and he's now spending his graduate year playing for the Minutemen. A little screen, trying to get everyone involved early in this one. Alan Williams is tackled at the 20-yard line. Well, this is Michael Cox when he played with the Wolverines. 169 career rushing yards, a couple of touchdowns, one of them coming against Youngstown State.
Didn't have a whole lot of experience in the offense here. As you can imagine, they've had a pretty deep backfield of running backs, but give it credit to him, getting his degree, transferring back closer to home, and getting to play right away with UMass.
Wegson looking deep, incomplete. Dangerous pass. It's almost picked off by J.T. Floyd. So the penalty really setting the Minutemen back. They're going to be forced to bring the punt team on.
Yeah, that's one of those throws that Wegson's going to have to stay away from, especially with an athletic defense like Michigan. You get late in the snap like that, you throw one that's got so much air under it. They were lucky that J.T. Floyd didn't pick that ball off.
A couple of different punters for UMass. They're going to choose Coulter Johnson. They also have Jeff Strait. They kind of alternate. Right now it's Coulter Johnson averaging 42 yards per punt so far on the year. Jeremy Gallen is back deep for the Wolverines. Low kick. Wolverines just going to stay away. And the ball bounces out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Big Ten greatness back on the field when we come back. Number 16, Denard Robinson, trying to move higher and higher up the Michigan record book. BTN Football is presented by John Deere, the all-new, all-powerful Gator RSX 850i. Also in part by MFS Investment Management. How'd you get your kale? This is the historic Carytown District Farmers Market here in Ann Arbor. Wednesdays and Saturdays in the summer, Saturdays all year round. Why not? Beautiful day. College football here at the Big House. Second offensive possession for Michigan. Robinson gets it out into space. Jeremy Gallen out to the 40-yard line. A pickup of 14 first down yards. Michigan has been electric so far through their first 6 plays.
You know what I like out of Jeremy Gallen is he goes and he gives 5 to Devin Gardner right there. Devin Gardner was the guy that was out, singled up, blocking. It's an excellent job by a wide receiver out trying to help one of his fellow receivers.
Isn't that wonderful company? Denard Robinson has passed Tom Brady in the all-time passing list. Next in his crosshairs, Jim Harbaugh may do that later this afternoon. This is the first failed offensive play for Michigan. Toussaint tackled at the line of scrimmage, no gain. UMass Minutemen coming out of Amherst, Michigan, about 2 hours west of Boston. Second time they have taken on Michigan over the years. Last time they played 2010, Michigan winning, but only by 5. 42-37 was the final score. During that season, UMass was still a member of the football championship subdivision, the former 1AA. Now UMass moving up to 1A, FBS, football bowl subdivision. Play fake. Robinson wants to throw, has the deep ball open, and it's too strong. Looking for Devin Gardner.
Yeah, the arm for Denard Robinson has never been the problem. He's got plenty of strength in that right arm to be able to get the ball down the field. Just puts a little bit too much air underneath this one, and Devin Gardner's got the speed to get out and be able to beat defensive backs. Just throwing a little bit too far ahead there of Gardner.
Charlie Mallner's UMass Minutemen already this season with losses at UConn and a home loss last week against Indiana. Hoosiers really took it to them, 45-6 the final score. Robinson again wants the deep ball. Has his receiver spin around. Did he? No, incomplete. Gerald Robinson, almost the catch of the year here at Michigan.
Yeah, Gerald Robinson, one of the new guys in the rotation at the wide receiver position, and nearly earned himself a few more snaps with that catch right there. I like his effort going up and trying to make whatever type of play he can out of going up with the one arm. You can see Denard Robinson rolls out a little bit, just trying to get him a clear vision of what's happening downfield. And Robinson nearly brings that one down with his right hand.
Good job by the safety, Darren Thelen, to stay with the play and eventually knock it away. I'll say this for Denard Robinson. He is an equal opportunity passer. His 5 throws today have been to 5 different receivers. Fair catch is bobbled, muffed, loose on the ground, and it appears as if the Minutemen keep possession. That was a dangerous play. Brian Dowling almost gave Michigan great field position.
Yeah, and I don't think it was the sun. It doesn't look as if the sun is in his eyes right there. He just took his eye off it a little bit, and that backwards rugby-style punt that a lot of these punters put on it can move on the returner a lot of times, and at the last second, just get out of your vision. UMass surviving a slight scare on that play.
So the Minutemen, their second possession. Redshirt freshman quarterback Mike Wegson with Michael Cox next to him, and Cox fumbles the football. Second consecutive play in which Michigan has almost had the ball at the 5-yard line, but the Minutemen get it back. Let's take a look at the Auto Owners starting defense for the Michigan Wolverines. Take a look at that in a moment. They were tested last week against that triple option offense for Air Force. Difficult offense to defense. From the end zone, this is Cox, his best run. A pickup of 8, maybe 9. Jordan Kovacs with the tackle on the former Wolverine. Here is the Auto Owners defense for Michigan. Clark didn't play week 1 against Alabama, had a solid game last week against the Falcons of Air Force. Campbell, Black, and Rowe. Linebackers, there's been a change to tell you about. James Ross III making his first college start. He replaces Desmond Morgan, who's got a bit of a head injury. He will not play in today's game. 3rd down and 1. And movement on the line.
Ball start, offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Our referee today is Alex Kemp. And the call goes against UMass. Finishing off the starting lineups. For Michigan, Jordan Kovacs continues just to be so stellar in the back half. His 36th start. He's a guy with a 3.1 GPA, a true walk-on. Not a recruited walk-on, a true walk-on who's been a 4-year starter for the Wolverines. Oh, little trickery, delayed handoff, and it doesn't fool the Wolverines. Michael Cox tackled for a loss of one. It'll bring up 4th down.
Well, you saw in the last play that Michigan brought a blitz look, which caused UMass to get that penalty. So I think Charlie Molnar was thinking that the blitz was going to get dialed up again, thinking he could get some deception to be able to catch the defense off guard. Greg Madison goes base. Nice play by the Michigan defense.
So 2nd straight 3-and-out forced by the Michigan defense. Jeremy Gallen back deep to receive this punt from Coulter Johnson. Let's see if Michigan comes after it. Wolverines have the return on. Low line drive kick. Gallen calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 45-yard line. Punt of 35 yards, no return. We'll be back to Ann Arbor, Michigan, UMass in a moment. Michigan beginning their 3rd possession. They lead Massachusetts by a score of 7-0. I'm Eric Collins alongside my partner Derek Rackley, and Derek is the most connected person that I know. You're second screening it with your iPad right now.
In commercial breaks, I'm always looking to see what's going on in the Big Ten Conference, checking out BTN.com. You got to stay connected. You got to be connected.
Now, the Twitterverse is always buzzing about Big Ten football, and BTN Connect is the place to join the conversation, see what fans and media are saying, vote in our Twitter polls, track the stats, and find out who's trending in the Big Ten today. It's all at btn.com/connect. Last week, Devin Funches, no doubt about that, was trending. And already he's trending with a touchdown pass caught from Denard Robinson. Well, standing by with a special guest, Lisa Byington, down on the field. Lisa.
Yeah, Eric, you might have heard the story about the Oklahoma kindergartner who wore a Michigan t-shirt to school, had to turn it inside out because of Oklahoma rules. You got to wear Oklahoma shirts at school. Guess what? Cooper Barton, 5-year-old here, invited to the big house for the first time. He's with his family and his mom here, Shannon. And Shannon, you guys were just introduced in front of 109,000 plus. What was that feeling like?
It's a little surreal. I really don't know how to describe it other than that. It's amazing. The energy and the love and the support. And it's amazing.
Your child just went to school, and now all of this has happened. Explain to me the surprise or your reaction to what Athletic Director Dave Brandon has done and the reaction you've received nationally because of this story.
Well, you know, we just wanted to change the neighborhood and let them be proud of where they're from. We never, ever expected anything to this caliber. It's really been an amazing experience as a family. I mean, we never would have been able to do this, never. And so we thank you to the Alumni Association and to Dave Brandon, the athletic department, and it's just been an amazing experience.
Well, thank you. It's Cooper's first time here, Eric. It's such a thrill.
Thank you.
Show us your shirt, buddy. That turns inside out. He doesn't have a problem there, Eric.
That is wonderful. Dave Brandon and the people here at Michigan, they did a wonderful job with this whole situation, making it just such a feel-good story.
Yeah, I loved it. He presented him with a T-shirt that had Michigan on both sides, so if he ever was asked to turn his shirt inside out, he's always representing Michigan.
Well, representing Michigan, Devin Funches with that last catch. Another first down for the Wolverines, and shoelace. The shoe's coming off. Steps out of bounds, out of the 15-yard line. There does appear to be a flag on the field along with a shoe.
Shoelace is now shoeless once again. And it's just amazing to me how he continues to make such great plays when he doesn't have a spike on the bottom of one foot. You know, in our meetings yesterday, I asked him, he walked in the room, I said, "Are your shoes tied?" He actually had slippers on, so he did not have his shoes tied at all.
Now the call is holding on Michigan, but it actually happened past the line of scrimmage, so it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. The holding happened at the 25, so the ball is pushed back to the 35. Because the result of the play was a first down, it's first down and 10 from the 35. And another flag now down on the field, but it appears no shoe this time.
Offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty.
Going to go against
Still
Michigan.
first down.
Alex Kemp calling that one on Taylor Lewan. It's a 5-yard penalty for movement, and it's going to be first down and 15 now.
There's last week against Air Force. Of course, that shoe came off again. You kind of see it flying there, but look at him. He can still make cuts with it. That's what's so impressive to me. He can make cuts with the sock on.
Setting up a screen. It's a beauty. Toussaint with room to run. Toussaint with a nice shake. He has the first down, still on his feet, and finally gang tackled, but a gain of 16 yards.
Well, we talked about getting him involved early on. That doesn't mean just the running game. That can mean the passing game as well. They set up the screen to him. They get the cavalry out in front of him. I like this call. Slow down that defense a little bit, catch him off guard. And you can see out in open space, he makes Darren Thelen miss. He's able to move the chains here for Michigan.
Coaching staff talks about Toussaint. They talk about his improved vision, his ability to see exactly where he needs to go. Pick up a 5 for Denard. Let's go to Mike Hall in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Hey, Eric, let's update you on Ohio State. This one was dramatic and late. In the fourth quarter, Braxton Miller on a 3rd and 7 finds a wide open Devin Smith for a 72-yard game-winning score.
Wow. Thank you, Mike. Ohio State tested and having to score late to win over the Cal Golden Bears in Columbus. So Ohio State remains unbeaten so far through 3 games. Toussaint with another carry. Coaching staff has been true to their word. They want to get him involved early and often.
Well, they really didn't last week. As I talked about, he had those 8 carries for 7 yards, and part of that was the fact that the coaching staff didn't feel like the offensive line blocked well. Some of that was what Air Force did against them defensively, but they felt like this was going to be a more traditional style defense that they were going to see, and they really had to get his confidence going for the next couple of games.
Michigan averaging over 6 yards per play on first down so far this season. All right, in red zone, Michigan, again, a handoff. Toussaint trying to get to the edge, trying to stay in. Did he? Yes! Touchdown, Michigan! First touchdown of the year for Fitzgerald Toussaint.
And you can see number 21, Kerry Bailey Smith right there had a shot to bring him down, and his excellent footwork right there by Toussaint to keep both feet inbounds.
Lefty Brendan Gibbons, point after touchdown is good, and the lead is 14-0, 3:10 remaining in the first quarter. Timeout on the field. Michigan Wolverines showing you why they're ranked 17th in the country.
Wolverines leading here in Michigan Stadium. We want to remind you that not forget about our Twitter hashtag, the hashtag Michigan. You can follow in the upper right corner of your screen. Follow all the Twitter activity and get plugged in. Go to www.btn.com/connect. Eric Collins, how's your smartphone?
It is dialed in. Thank you. We're gonna have your Twitter question in a moment too, kind of keeping with that theme, but first the kickoff, and it's going to be returnable. Jordan Broadnax with a full head of steam. He crosses over the 25-yard line. That is the first time today that the Minutemen have made it past the 25-yard line. All right, today's Twitter poll question is, who will lead Michigan in receptions in 2012? Hashtag UM Funches, that's Devin Funches. Hashtag Jeremy Gallen. Hashtag Devin Gardner. We'll have the results for you in the second half. Would you like to take your first swing at it, Derek Rackley?
My first swing at it would be hashtag Gardner, the converted quarterback. I think he'll end up being a guy that finds that connection with Denard Robinson.
Well, Devin Funches has been terrific over the last 5 quarters. Legs in, his pass is high, looking for Tajay Sharp. This is an important game for Mike Wegson. Look at his bio, and it says that Wegson is from Knoxville, Tennessee. That's partially true. Played his senior season at high school.
87. Ineligible downfield. Offense, number 87 was covered up. Penalty is declined.
Penalty is declined, so it's going to be second down and 10. We're talking about the quarterback for UMass, Charlie Molnar. He's starting a redshirt freshman, and Mike Wegson, number 11. Wegson played his senior year at high school, Knoxville, Tennessee, but before that, Michigan born and raised. Went to high school at Northville High School just outside of Detroit. Grew up a Wolverine fan. So today a chance to play here in the big house. You can imagine what it is like for him and how many fans and friends he has here in this building.
I'm sure it's probably been a dream of his throughout his entire childhood life to be able to come in and compete in this building. And I can tell you, as a guy that played at a visiting team at Minnesota, it was an experience for any visiting team to come in and play in the stadium.
Michael Cox with the run makes it 3rd down and 4. Third possession for UMass, trying to get their first down. And it's going to be close. I don't know. The pass is complete to Alan Williams. It's going to depend upon the spot.
Alan Williams getting some more reps today because Markin Michelle is out with an injury, and he's just got to stay up on his feet right here. He's still going to get the first down. They're going to move the chains, but he could have picked up a couple of extra yards if he just turns upfield and stays on his feet.
It is indeed a first down. Just the 17th first down of the season for UMass. Now playing in their 3rd game. On the ground, Cox. Those former teammates being a little bit rough with him right now. That's going to be a loss on the play. Frank Clark with the stop loss of 1.
Well, one of the things I was talking to Coach Hoke about was defensive front. What are you focusing on? And it's getting off of blocks. And you can see an excellent job of getting off of blocks. Looks like Craig Rowe was held on that play, but you can see Frank Clark getting in the backfield. This is what this defensive front has got to do, what they did such a great job of last year, is getting off of blocks of the offensive linemen.
2nd down and long. Out of the backfield, pass is incomplete. Looking for Deion Walker. Nice coverage on the play. Courtney Avery, nickelback on the coverage.
See a little bit of that inexperience by Wegson right there, rolling away from his strong arm to the left, and he just throws it right into the ground. As he gets more experience and settles down into that situation, he'll be able to put that ball right on his receiver's numbers.
UMass was hoping to go with a guy by the name of Kellen Pagel this year, but he's been dealing with some concussion problems. They don't think he's going to come back this year. So for the most part, the job is Mike Wegson's to lose. 3rd and 11. Design quarterback run. Wegson has the first down. Big fella, 6'5", 215, runs into Thomas Gordon, but not before he picks up 16 yards and a first down.
Yeah, it looked like Frank Clark had an opportunity to make that tackle after he redirected and came back upfield, but you can see Wegson had just enough. Actually, that was Ojemudia, Mario Ojemudia for Michigan, had a shot to be able to clip those ankles and bring him down, but nonetheless, Wegson is able to move the chains and get a first down across midfield.
Minute to play, first quarter. Cox gets a block from his quarterback. Oh, and Cox with another first down. 3 straight first downs for the Minutemen. And Wegson earning the scholarship, protecting the edge.
Yeah, the block is going to, you can see Wegson come right back and peel back on James Ross. Watch him right here. He's going to end up getting this block on James Ross, which gives just enough time for Cox to get up around the corner. Nice job and awareness right there by Wegson to come back and get a key block.
Michael Cox still in the game next to Wegson. Wants to throw. Down the right sideline. Beautiful pass. Is it caught? It is. Catch is made by Tajay Sharp. 22 yards on the pitch and catch.
Well, you can see Charlie Molnar and Mike Wegson are trying to speed things up a little bit, get another playoff. Now, this is the type of offense that they run, but they also want to try to get another playoff before the officials take another look at it. Good reception right there by Tajay Sharp, and you can see Ramon Taylor thought that he was out of bounds, and they are going to take another look at it.
The ruling on the field is completed pass. The play is under further review. Timeout.
Now the ruling on the field, Alex Kemp tells us, is completed pass. Looked like possession was no problem. It's all going to depend on the feet.
It looks like he stretched out and was able to get a clean reception. I don't see the ball moving around much in his hands, at least from this angle. It's tough to tell, and it looks as if that right foot is in bounds. Remember, in a college game, they just have to get 1 foot in bounds. I like that athletic play right there by Sharp, stretching out and getting that right foot down in bounds.
Minutemen coaching staff were ecstatic when they were talking about number 1, Tajay Sharp. This guy is a true freshman out of Piscataway, New Jersey, with a ton of upside. He's 6'2", 175 pounds.
After further review, the play stands. First down.
Ruling stands on the field, so it's first down at the 13-yard line.
Yeah, Tom Hoffman upstairs was the replay official, and I don't think there's anything. Again, that looks like a clean catch to me, and we saw that from the back angle that right foot, in my opinion, was clearly in bounds. And you were talking about Sharp, and we were talking about their offensive coordinator, Mike Krushek. He was saying, we've got to find other opportunities to get him the football. He's a dynamic player. He's fast. He's quick. They got to get him the ball.
"61 yards picked up already on this drive for UMass. And that's going to do it for our first quarter of play. Michigan on top of UMass, 14-0. Welcome back, everyone. 15 minutes in the books. Michigan versus UMass here at Michigan Stadium. And when you get 110,000 people together at one time, there generally is always something going on. Michigan drumline performing here between quarters. Now the Michigan defense is going to try and stop the UMass offense. Nice little drive for the Minutemen. With Derek Rackley, I'm Eric Collins. Lisa Byington down on the field. Michigan and UMass both playing the third game of the year. Blitz is on, picked up nicely. Catch is made. Inside the 5 goes Alan Williams, tackled at the 3.
Well, we were just talking about the Michigan tackling earlier on in the ball game, and now you're seeing Courtney Avery, number 5, with a missed tackle. He's able to hold on to him and bring him down, but he picks up, Williams does, an extra 5 or 6 yards after contact.
Quick handoff. Former Wolverine Michael Cox stumbles and loses a yard.
Important drive here right now for UMass. They've only had 2 trips into the red zone in their first 2 ball games, getting 1 touchdown. If you're going to have a shot in staying in this ball game, you've got to get touchdowns and not field goals once you get inside the red zone.
Minutemen have really turned it around over the last 5 plays, trying to get in the end zone. Flag is down, and Cox is down.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, it's Anthony Demo. We told you about at the beginning of the game, number 70, playing in his first game of the year. Just takes Jake Ryan down to the ground.
Yeah, Jake Ryan slanting inside right there. That's a normal reaction for a tackle when they know that they're beat, as they would rather see if they can get away with a holding penalty than a tackle for loss in the backfield. But UMass is still happy to get him back in the lineup.
That's the 3rd time already that Anthony Dema has been penalized. 3 times in the first 16 minutes of play. To the end zone, incomplete. Looking again for Alan Williams. Nice pass, a little bit out ahead of Williams.
Well, one thing I bet Charlie Molnar is going to be telling his offense is let's change up the snap count, because Jabril Black got an unbelievable jump and got into the backfield. It's part of the reason why Wegson had to get out of the pocket. he's going to have to change up the snap count a little bit because Michigan's starting to catch on to his cadence.
Third down and goal. 4 receivers and a tight end in the game for UMass. Again, the blitz is on, and Wegson goes down. Flag down on the field. Ball is loose. I think maybe a Michigan defender, quite possibly Frank Clark, was too quick off the line.
Yeah, we're just talking about that snap count, Eric. That time it was Frank Clark playing on the outside. Got a really fast jump on the play.
Offside. Defense, number 57.
It is on Frank Clark.
Yeah, they're trying to get into the backfield. Seems like they've gotten something on the cadence right there for Mike Wegson. They're going to have to be careful. You're going to see right over on this side of the screen is going to be Frank Clark. Gets just a little bit too fast of a jump. You can see how quickly he gets around the corner, trying to get in the backfield and make a play on Wegson.
Oh, that doesn't look fun if you're Wegson and you got Clark, all 262 pounds, bearing down on you with a full head of steam. Third and goal. Wegson has his pass knocked away by Clark. Frank Clark, a little bit of everything on that drive, positive and negative. The positive forces a fourth down when he knocks down the pass.
Yeah, I like the awareness. A lot of times you get a defensive end that just gets so in tuned and getting up the field because I want to get the sack, but you can see he reads the eyes of Wegson and gets that long arm up in the air to bat the football down and put UMass in a position for a field goal attempt. Again, as I mentioned, they got to get touchdowns when they get opportunities like this.
Brendan Levengood, Jr. will attempt a 25-yard field goal, and he squirts it through. So a small victory for the UMass Minutemen. A 13-play drive results in 3 points. Charlie Molnar's Minutemen are on the board. Michigan will have the ball when we come back. Second quarter, 13:44 remaining. There's a shot of the Horace Rackett School of Graduate Studies. If you get a chance to walk around on a fall day here in Ann Arbor, there's a, man, it's an eyeful. There's a lot of just wonderful buildings and landmarks. Smiling kids everywhere you go. A lot of fun here at University of Michigan. Right now, 110 smiling Michigan Wolverine fans as they lead UMass Minutemen 14-3. Returnable kickoff. Dennis Norfleet, his first touch of the day. And Norfleet skips out across the 25, close to the 30, tackled at the 29. Here comes Denard Robinson with another chance.
We talked about it earlier on. Denard was just so special last week. Became the first player in FBS history to have 3 games in a career with 200 rushing yards and 200 passing yards. It was just electric last week. Now we talked about the fact that he's got to get some other people going. He's got the ability to do this every single game. And he continues to show us how athletic and how dynamic he is here for the Wolverines.
Vincent Smith into the game. First time today we've seen him in the backfield. They fake to him. Pass is caught. This is Dillio. And Dillio with a chance to go all the way. Does he have enough speed? Pushed out of bounds at the 5. Christian Burt saves a touchdown, but a huge gainer for Michigan. "66 yards, Drew Dillio down to the 5.
Dillio's a guy that likes to play in that slot position. You can see the fake brings the linebackers up. Perry McIntyre, number 44, got his eyes caught in the backfield. That opens it wide open in the middle of the field. You can see Thelen right there. Darren Thelen, number 27, misses the tackle, and Dillio's able to get him inside the 10-yard line.
This time, the give is to Smith, and Vincent Smith scores. Talk about a quick drive. 2 plays, 71 yards, capped off by the 5-yard touchdown by Vincent Smith.
Yeah, that's what this Michigan offense is looking for. More explosive plays right there. I really like what Vincent Smith brings to this offense. He's a guy that pass protect out of the backfield, catch the football, and run it, as we saw on that touchdown. Watch Vincent Smith here. Says that read option that Michigan likes to run so often, but you got great push by the front right there. Elliott Miller, Patrick Omame were able to move that line of scrimmage, and that's just an easy one right there for Vincent Smith. Sort everything out up front, find your hole, get into the end zone.
Vincent Smith, the senior from Pahokee, Florida, with his first touchdown of the year. As we take a look at the Speedway scoring drive, and it was a speedy 39 seconds, 2 plays, 71 yards. Drew Dillio, a 66-yard catch and run, and the Vincent Smith 5-yard rumble into the end zone.
And Eric, now you can see the importance of UMass having to settle for that field goal on their last drive. Instead of it being 21-7 now, it's 21-3 because they weren't able to punch it in and get the touchdown. That's why those opportunities are so important anytime UMass gets inside the red zone.
Matt Weil kicks it off, fielding it on the run. This is Jordan Broadnax. And Broadnax out across the 25. Congratulations once again are in order for Denard Robinson. He may be getting 2 congratulatory phone calls this evening from both Tom Brady and Jim Harbaugh. At least he should. He has passed both Brady and Harbaugh on the Michigan all-time passing leaderboard.
Well, we talked about he can continue to move up. You can see some of those other records and slots up that list are still within his reach. That's just passing yards. You think about how he fares in rushing yards and total offense. When his career is said and done, his name will be littered all over the record book.
UMass put up a field goal last time they had it. Nice run here. Michael Cox, the former Wolverine, picks up 4 on first down. Courtney Avery with the tackle. Let's go down on the field. Lisa Byington standing by. Lisa, what's going on?
Eric, I actually spoke to Michael Cox in the tunnel in the pregame. He's a very likable kid. You could tell that all the Michigan players who are coming into their locker room giving him a high five, very excited to see him. He said it's real surreal to be back here. The last time he was back here, Eric, he got his undergrad degree last spring.
And it's just a wonderful story. He is a Michigan graduate getting a chance to play against his alma mater. Alan Williams with the catch. Let's go to Mike Hall in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Eric, the Hawkeyes came in with only 1 touchdown on the season through 2 games. This touchdown by Mark Weissman gives them 2 TDs in just the first half. They're up by 4 right now.
Thank you, Mike. Well, tough days right now for Iowa trying to get back on the ball after a real disappointing loss a week ago. 3rd down and short, and the Minutemen playing some power football. Cox rumbles for 3 yards and a fresh set of downs.
You know, one thing to remember, too, is the last time that UMass was on offense, they put together that long drive. They settled for a field goal. Michigan came back out, and they had a 2-play drive. So now, if UMass is able to put together another long drive, think about the defense starting to wear down, starting to get tired a little bit, being on the field for 2 long drives in a row.
Redshirt freshman Wegson maybe changing the call. Oof, dangerous out route run by Tajay Sharp. JT Floyd almost had a pick 6. Derek, let's talk about what Michigan is dealing with right now. This is almost like a dress rehearsal for what the defense will see next week when they take on Notre Dame.
Yeah, remember Charlie Molnar's worked right underneath Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, so he's likely running the exact same offense. This is great practice for Greg Madison and this defense because they're likely going to see a lot of these same plays when they face Notre Dame next week.
Charlie Molnar, the last 6 years, right next to Brian Kelly, both at Central Michigan, Cincinnati, and the last 2 years in South Bend. Nice catch made there by the tight end, Rob Blanchflower, his first catch. Pickup of 3. Michigan last year, what an exciting game this was. Man, the end of the game, all you needed to see was that 4th quarter back and forth, with Denard Robinson and Michigan pulling off a real nice win, the best win early for Brady Hoke and his staff.
Yeah, what I love about Denard Robinson is he never feels like the game is over until there's zeros on the clock. He kept fighting in that ball game, made some huge passes through the air, which is not his forte. Was able to get Michigan back in that game and get the W.
3rd down and 7. Wegson is running out of time, had to just get the pass out, and it's too low, and it'll bring up 4th down. So the punt team for UMass will come on as we take a look at the upcoming schedule for Michigan. You got Notre Dame non-conference next week, then you got the bye, and then a road game at Purdue. Next home game's not going to be until October 13th.
Yeah, really important timing right here for Michigan. They do have a couple of injuries, some guys that are not in the lineup, so that bye week really could be strategic for them as far as giving an extra week for some of these guys to get healed up and back on the field.
Home games have been real special under Brady Hoke. He has never lost a game as the head coach here at the Big House. Nice kick by Coulter Johnson, his best of the day. And the fair catch called for and made by Jeremy Gallen. Timeout on the field. When we come back, Michigan will take over on offense. Yeah, the Michigan students hard at work studying there at Diag on Central Campus. 21-3, the football playing Wolverines on top of the UMass Minutemen. This is the first time so far today that Michigan has started inside their own 25. So poor starting field position for Denard Robinson and the Wolverines. Gain of a couple on 1st down. Greg Hilliard with the tackle. We talked about it at the beginning of the game, Derek Rack. Beginning of the season, Denard Robinson has been all of the offense for the most part for Michigan.
Well, we know there's some other playmakers here, but that really shouldn't surprise a whole lot of people. And Al Borges will tell you the same thing as far as the type of offense that he likes to run. He'd like to get more to a tight end, West Coast style of offense, but because of Denard being here, they've got to have the football in his hands every time, and being in the shotgun helps him see that defense, and that's why he's so successful throwing and running the ball.
Pass is picked off. Going the other way is UMass. It's going to be a touchdown. Christian Burt with 6.
One of the things they were focusing on with Denard Robinson this offseason was his footwork, and I think this is a display of his footwork getting bad. Got a little bit lazy, and this football should have been delivered a little bit earlier, and it was ended up being behind Jeremy Jackson. But you got to give Burt credit for reading Denard Robinson's eyes, making a break on that football, and a huge play for UMass to really quiet down this crowd.
So a touchdown for the Minutemen, a chance to put their 10th point on the board, and they do. Brendan Levengood, extra point is good, and UMass scoring a touchdown for just the 2nd time this year. Christian Burt from Laconia, New Hampshire with the interception and the touchdown.
Well, you needed some good things to happen here defensively for UMass to get him back in the football game. Just watch Denard's footwork right here. You can see that left foot. See how it stepped out to the left, almost to the middle of the football field. He's got to step towards his receiver, towards Jeremy Jackson, and he'll be able to get a lot more velocity on that football. It's part of the reason why it tailed behind him. And he realized that he made a mistake trying to get in there to make a tackle.
4th time this year that Denard Robinson has been picked off. And I'd hazard a guess it's probably the first time in his life he's ever been picked off by a person who's born and raised in New Hampshire. Christian Burt from Laconia, New Hampshire, coming to the Big House and registering a pick 6. Well, everything that Michigan does, they do quickly. They score quickly, and they allow points scored against them quickly. They're going to get it back here. 9:49 left to play here in the first half. In the end zone, it'll be a touchback. This This October, the creators of BTN's award-winning original series, The Journey, will launch the show that will give fans an unprecedented look at the student athletes and coaches throughout the season. The Journey Big Ten Football 2012, presented by Best Buy. It premieres October 3rd. It's coming up on BTN. So the interception and touchdown return really quieting the crowd here at Michigan Stadium. Another pass. This one is caught by Gallen. Gallen across the 30. He's tripped up. Nice open field tackle made by Randall Jett.
See, Alabor just likes to go with this screen out to the wide receiver. Same play as we saw back in the first quarter, trying to get the ball in the hands of Jeremy Gallen out in space. Again, had Devin Gardner out in front of him. Didn't get as good of a block that he did on the last play, but still pick up a 6 on first downs. Definitely successful for the Michigan offense.
Design quarterback run, and Denard Robinson speeds out across the 50, out to the 46-yard line. Christian Burt the tackle, but another nice gain, a pickup of 24.
You know, the reason why this play is so successful with Denard is when they have design quarterback run, they always have an extra player unless the defense devotes a safety down in the box. You can see number 9, Christian Burt, came back out. He was expecting pass. That's the extra defender that needs to be in there to make the play on Robinson.
Robinson last week against Air Force was named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. 8th different time that he has been given that honor. Only man in Big Ten history who has been Player of the Week offensively more frequently.
They're first.
Ron Dane, former Wisconsin Badger. He has done it 9 times. Timeout. We'll be back to Ann Arbor in a moment.
Let's take it to the field. Let's take it to the field. I come through like a freight train, about to push the line back. Only see the goal line, don't matter if your line stack. Because I'm a soldier, you can see my face paint. Know that I'ma get mine by knowing that the rest can't. Y'all looking scared, man. Better call a timeout. I'm so
Michigan already 3 touchdowns. Vincent Smith, Fitzgerald Toussaint, and the true freshman tight end Devin Funches. Here in the first half, Michigan and UMass playing for the second time in a 3-year window. First down at 10. Ball's on the 45-yard line. Robinson wants to throw. Now might as well run. Tons of room in front of him. There's a flag down on the field. And Robinson gets hit hard by Darren Thelen after a 24-yard run. Michigan walking back.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 28, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Tailback Toussaint called for the chop block.
And that play just opened wide up for Denard Robinson. You can see Fitz Toussaint in the backfield. Elliot Mueller right there is blocking, and you can see Fitz Toussaint goes down low. You can't do that. That was a big play that ends up coming back. There's another look at it. You see 57, Mueller's blocking, and then Toussaint right there, the running back, goes down, not thinking that Mueller's coming. He's trying to cut McIntyre down.
Derek, that's the second time here in this first half that a long run by Robinson has been called back because of a penalty. First and 25, little screen out to Gallen. Trying to get Gallen into space. He's pushed out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Today's United States Marine Corps leader of the game. How about number 65, Michigan, right guard Patrick Omame. This is a guy who's got a double major, communications and sociology, with a concentration in business administration. 2 times he's been academic all Big Ten. This guy with his shoulders and head on securely. He's got things figured out. Smart guy.
Yes, he does. And he's played a lot of football here for Michigan, one of the fixtures on the offensive line the last couple of years.
Second down and 13. Smith, another carry. And it's going to bring up third down and manageable after beginning this as a 1st and 25.
Yeah, that's a great point, Eric. That's exactly where I was going with this. After getting themselves behind the schedule when you talk about downs being 1st and 25, a couple of plays, a screen pass, another one coming up the gut right there. They at least got themselves a manageable opportunity to be able to get a first down, get past the 35-yard line.
Total offense now in the history of Michigan football. Denard Robinson is now 2nd all-time, just past John Navarre. In trouble. Denard flips it out. It is caught. First down and a bunch more. This is Devin Gardner. And Gardner, giddy. Devin Gardner gets in on a 3rd down at 6. His first catch of the day.
Well, an excellent job by Robinson being able to stay alive, but even better effort by Gardner trying to tiptoe that sideline and reach for the pylon. Outstanding individual effort right there by Devin Gardner.
How did he not go out of bounds? He came around that corner 100 miles an hour and was able to keep his feet in bounds and score the touchdown. Gardner's 3rd touchdown receiving on the year. Denard Robinson finds his backup, Devin Gardner, for 6, and the lead is now 28-10 Michigan. Michigan already with 4 first-half touchdowns. They lead UMass 28-10.
Well, we talked about the individual effort by Devin Gardner, but Vincent Smith, number 2 in the backfield, was the one that got the block that gave Denard Robinson enough time to get this ball out of his hands. And again, you talk about that tight roping the sidelines right there. Excellent effort by Gardner.
No doubt about it. After that play, Devin Gardner is trending on BTN Connect. You can follow the social media conversation about today's game and see who else is trending right now. Go to btn.com/connect. Poor kickoff by Matt Weil goes out of bounds. It'll be a penalty and good starting field position for UMass.
Kicking team, number 45. By rule, the ball is placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
So Brady Hoke will watch his defense get out on the field. Good starting field position for UMass. Ball placed at the 35-yard line. We talked so much about how the brain trust with Michigan was looking to get other players involved offensively. What was the big theme in your eyes, what they wanted to accomplish defensively today?
Well, one of the things I already mentioned up front was being able to get off of blocks. You know, looking back at the tape against Alabama and even Air Force, I think Michigan's defensive line was playing around a little bit too much with the offensive linemen. They've got to have contact, they've got to disengage, read the play, get rid of the blocker, and go in the backfield and make a play.
Stephen Millam appeared to move, number 74
start
for UMass.
Offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So 1st and 10 goes to 1st and 15. UMass came into this one with a grand total of 6 points scored on the season. 6 points in 2 games. They've already got 10 points in a quarter and a half against Michigan. Fake is to Cox. Wegzin's pass too strong. Looking for the tight end Blanchflower. Frank Clark was in the face of Wegzin.
Well, again, you go back to staying on schedule on the downs. That penalty on first down puts him back at 1st and 15. It basically forces Charlie Molnar into a passing situation. And you know Greg Madison can set up his defense expecting that Wegzin's going to be going through the air.
Another pass play, it's a little screen. Sharp has the ball, and Sharp is tackled close to the original line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. Will Campbell on the tackle.
Does a nice job of redirecting right there by the Michigan defense. Madison brought some pressure that time, and a lot of times when you're running a screen play and you have pressure, that's when you can get some of the best plays. But you saw a lot of those guys recognize the play, get out of the box, we like to call it, come back and make a play.
Wegzin setting up a middle screen, nobody home. It was sniffed out beautifully. Joe Bolden was all over Wegson. And a flag is down to the true freshman Bolden from Cincinnati, Ohio. Just a demon in the face of Wegson.
Offense, number 11. Lost it down. The spot of the foul. Fourth down.
See the pressure coming from the left-hand side of your screen. Greg Madison dials it up right there, and you can see Joe Bolden getting into the backfield, staring down the face of Mike Wegson.
UMass was trying to set up that middle screen, and it just was sniffed out beautifully by the Wolverine defenders. And Wegson forced to throw it away, called for intentional grounding, and it's 4th and 34. They'll be fortunate if they can punt the ball to where the first down marker is. Coulter Johnson out of the end zone. Allen, fair catch called for and made at the 45-yard line. Line drive punt of 44 yards, no return. Stay tuned, everybody, for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave, Jerry, and Howard will be along from our Chicago studio with scores and highlights from all of today's action. Ohio State being tested by a team from the Pac-12. Cal Golden Bears in Columbus. Way closer game than Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes would have hoped for. 6 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Toussaint with another carry. 8 more yards for the junior.
See Denard Robinson spreading the wealth around on this offense. 4 different players have scored touchdowns. 6 different guys have caught a pass. I like the fact that once he drops back, he's just looking to see who's open. He doesn't have his mind made up about who's going to throw the ball to.
Toussaint, another carry, has the first down. Drags Minutemen defenders inside the 40 down to the 37.
Seen a little bit of change up in the offensive calls here. More traditional pro style. Denard's been under center these last 2 snaps. Been 12 personnel, which is 1 back and 2 tight ends, just going with straight north and south football, allowing that offensive line for Michigan to really just start teeing off on the defensive line again, trying to get Fitz Toussaint going in the running game.
3 straight carries now for Toussaint. This time he is bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. One of the things that's actually been working against Michigan offensively so far early on this year is when they do score, they score so quickly, they're not getting all the reps that they would have liked.
Yeah, there's 2 sides to that. They're not getting enough reps offensively, and a lot of times that puts the defense back on the football field, which has its share of youth, especially up front, because they graduated 3 such talented guys on the defensive front. It's a good problem to have offensively when you're able to put the ball in the end zone, but you do need to get the reps, and you need to keep your defense off the field.
This time they fake it to Toussaint. Robinson, pump fake, throws, incomplete, just trying to get rid of it. Let's go down to the sidelines and get more on the morning for Brady Hope and the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, Eric, it's something that he started really last year because of the late afternoon kick. What he did is he had his team, he wanted to get them to come out and actually stretch their legs a little bit. So across the street at the corner of State and Huron Streets, across the street from their hotel, there they are going through a little walkthrough. Check out who is the scout team QB, the head coach. That's pretty nice. They stretched their legs out. Look at how intense Jordan Kovacs looks. This is taking place at the First United Methodist Church of Ann Arbor. It's something that Mr. Hope started last year.
Thank you, Lisa. I think that Brady Hoke has done so many wonderful things here in Ann Arbor, and that's just another kind of cool thing. Take his team out, game day, seen in the community, guys can, they're heroes. Little kids are walking by and their heroes are out there just like them as they're having their bagels in the morning. Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing. 3rd down and 9. Tons of time for Denard Robinson. Nobody open. Just going to run it himself, and Denard has the first down and more. He's going to have a touchdown. Are you kidding me? What a weapon Denard Robinson is. Already 299 total yards here in this first half. That was a design pass and nobody got open, and Denard Robinson didn't seem like he wanted to run, but he just had to run. And once you're running, you might as well score a touchdown.
Well, Eric, it's a great point. Al Borges was telling us yesterday that what he's been trying to force Denard Robinson to do is when he drops back to pass and he doesn't see anything downfield, is don't be afraid to tuck it down and run. First of all, credit the offensive line. Excellent protection right here. Denard had all day to throw. Everybody was covered up downfield. But at this point, don't force it downfield. Tuck it and do what you do best. And there's not too many quarterbacks in the country that can cut it all the way across the field, have the speed to beat every defender and get into the end zone. Just an outstanding individual effort, but Robinson listening to the coaching that he's been given by Al Borges and his staff.
So Denard Robinson well on his way to back-to-back games of 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing. He is on pace right now with 4 minutes left here in the first half. Here's our Speedway scoring drive. 5 plays, 55 yards, exactly 2 minutes of game time taken off the clock. Five first-half touchdowns for Michigan. 3 of the 5 touchdowns have been for 25 yards or more. Broadnax is going to take it out of the end zone. And Broadnax with a little bit of daylight. He's tackled before he can get to the 30-yard line. A return of 28 yards. Next week, Michigan taking on Notre Dame.
Ball is marked at the 28-yard line. First and 10, Massachusetts.
Wolverine defense back on the field. Going to try and chase around this redshirt freshman quarterback, Mike Wegson. Wegson hands it off to Cox, who's pushed out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Ramon Taylor, Jordan Kovacs on the tackle, pick up 6.
You know, kind of going back to your point, Eric, about the practice that this defense is getting against another team that they're going to face a lot of next week. I like what Mike Cox has been able to do. UMass is just showing them a solid running game as well, making these defenders pursue.
Nice pass into a tiny window. The catch is made. Jordan Kovacs making the receiver pay. Walker with the catch, but maybe a headache as well. Kovacs now with 6 first-half tackles.
See, Charlie Molnar must have mentioned his offense in between possessions here. Guys, let's try to speed it up a little bit. I want to try to get that Michigan defense on their heels.
Cox with the run, and Cox into the secondary. He gains 9 on first down. Cox looks the part. This is a big guy, 6'3", 214 pounds. But as big as he is, still no match for Frank Clark, who's able to tackle him with one arm.
That's a strong right arm right there. Most running backs would love to go against an arm tackle, be able to run through it. So it was a great play right there, because if not, Cox is getting into the secondary and going to have a one-on-one with a safety.
Oh, a little flea flicker. Back to the quarterback. Wegson has a man. It's Walker down inside the 20. You mentioned at the beginning of the game. Why not? Massachusetts take some chances.
Yeah, I like this right here. The little flea flicker. In this type of ball game, you got to go ahead and take some chances. You know that Michigan defense is going to be aggressive coming up towards the line of scrimmage, and I like the fact that Wegson made sure that he read the defense and didn't just get the ball and throw it to a receiver, predetermined who he's going to throw to. He found the open guy and completed the pass.
Designed rollout, left side, pass is low, but it is caught. Nice catch by Brian Dowling. Short gain on first down. He did not catch that. Officials have actually gotten together, and they agree that was not a catch, so the ball placed back at the 16-yard line, and it's 2nd down and 10. Good job of officiating right there. And we've got a timeout called by the Minutemen.
UMass.
First timeout used by UMass. They are driving. We'll be back to Ann Arbor in a moment. Yeah, a beautiful day here in Ann Arbor. Would be a beautiful day to go golfing on the Michigan golf course, but you're not going to find too many people over there right now. Place to be is inside.
Yeah, not playing golf either.
Just trying to get the ball away. Wegson gets it close enough to a receiver that he's not called for another intentional grounding. 3rd down and 10. Pressure provided by Frank Clark and Jordan Kovacs.
This is prime time to dial up pressure. You got 3rd and 10, another passing situation. So look for Michigan to dial up some blitz again, see if one of the linebackers or Kovacs comes out of the secondary to try to get in the face of Mike Wegson.
Wegson lofts it up, nobody home. His tight end, Blanchflower, kind of got held up right around the goal line. And it's going to bring up 4th down. What do you do if you're Charlie Molnar and your team's already down by 25?
Well, he's got the field goal team coming on wants to get some points here before halftime. And it looked like there was some kind of miscommunication on that last route. I think Wegson was anticipating somebody going to the post, and there was nobody there. He's lucky the ball wasn't intercepted again. But Charlie Molnar just happy to get some more points on the board, get some confidence in his team going into half.
Brendan Levengood has already made 1 field goal. This one will be from 32 yards out. And it hooks in. A little bit of English on that kick. And the UMass Minutemen have come here to the Big House and put 13 points on the board here in the first half.
It's almost like you had to think that it was going to happen at some point. This offense has been struggling. See right here, this one barely gets inside the uprights.
You got that draw on your tee shot like that?
Not the draw. I can hit the fade, but the draw is hard for me to do.
Charlie Molnar's team came into this one with a grand total of 6 points in their first 2 games. They've got 13 points so far in the first 28 minutes of this game against the Wolverines.
You know, offensively, got to get touchdowns once you get inside the red zone. They saw the interception that went for a touchdown, but outside of that, they've had 2 trips, 2 field goals. If you're going to have a chance to stay in this ball game, as I mentioned earlier, you've got to put the ball in the end zone once you get those opportunities.
All of the Minutemen's 13 points have come here in this second quarter. Dennis Norfleet, number 26, he is back deep to receive this kickoff. I think that Norfleet's got a chance to be special. He's going to bring it out. Norfleet, full head of steam, looking for a crease, can't find it. Tripped up before he can get to the 20. If you're just joining us, this is what the day for Denard Robinson has been like so far.
Well, it's every defense's nightmare when you get number 16 for Michigan to get confidence and to really get going. Lost that shoe in the first quarter, but still just has that knack for making plays when he doesn't have his cleats on. But he just continues to be able to beat defenses, whether it's through the pass or the run. This was a great decision in my behalf, or in my opinion, excuse me, of him not trying to force something down the field, tuck it down and do what he does best and run the football.
Play action. Coming out of the backfield, Vincent Smith with the catch, shakes the defender, and pushed out of bounds across the 35.
Well, you talk about body control right there. Vincent Smith, first of all, the recognition, knowing that a defender is coming, and second of all, knowing that as soon as he gets his feet down, he puts them both in the ground and gets the spin. That's an experienced running back right there that knows where the receivers are coming from, the defenders, and able to make a play.
Robinson has now thrown for 226 yards with that catch by Vincent Smith. 7 different Wolverines have caught a pass. Tons of time again. Throw is high. looking for Devin Gardner. It's hard to overthrow Gardner, who is a lanky 6'4".
Oh, and there was a lot of room for Devin Gardner. I know Denard Robinson's going to watch that one back on film tomorrow and be disappointed with himself. Gardner was wide open coming across the formation. He probably could have turned it up and got another 10 or 15 yards. Just got to dial it down and be able to put that one right on the middle of his numbers.
Devin Gardner still a work in progress. He's a converted quarterback trying to get on the same page with Denard Robinson. Denard tripped up at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to bring up a third down. Third down and 13 after the loss of 3.
Yeah, and you can almost hear it in the crowd. The crowd knew that if he slides out of the backside of Elliott Mueller, he likely would have got another big play. They know what his abilities are when he gets through the line of scrimmage.
Third and a bunch, trying to stay on the field offensively. Robinson, caught. Gilio, his second catch of the day, out close to the 50. First down, Michigan.
I've really been impressed when Michigan has gotten back and they've had designed pass plays on that front five of theirs. The offensive line has been doing an excellent job being able to hold off UMass, giving the windows and enough time for Denard Robinson to find his receivers downfield.
Robinson, again, tons of time, passes high. Is it caught? It is. Catch is made. Gerald Robinson, pickup of 9.
Again, take a look at this protection by the offensive line, doing an excellent job communicating, making sure they pass off any stunts. Denard Robinson's got the ability to survey the field, go from his first to his second to his third receiver, and pick up Robinson on a nice completion.
Middle linebacker Perry McIntyre, slow to get up. He was involved in that tackle. UMass already very thin at the linebacking spot. They'll have to dip into their 2 deep, find a replacement for McIntyre. Jovan Santos Knox, true freshman from Middletown, Connecticut, number 50, is going to be the middle linebacker for this play. Second down and 1. Robinson, line drive, caught again by Gilio. There's a flag down in the Michigan backfield, and it appears as Denard Robinson seems to think it's going to go against UMass.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 55. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Ryan Dallaire called for roughing the passer, and that's just going to be some free yards for Michigan.
Well, I like that poise by Denard, knowing that he's going to end up taking a hit right there. And if you're Dallaire, you just got to understand that the football's out of his hands. You can't afford to give them extra yards after the completion.
24 yards on the pickup, 9 on the pass and catch, 15 on the penalty. Ball's down to the 18 now. 39 seconds remaining. First half, designed quarterback run. Denard Robinson weaves inside the 5, tackled at the 1. 16 more yards for Robinson.
Once again, that's that quarterback power where Michigan has one extra guy than the defense does, bringing Vincent Smith through on a lead block. There's just not a whole lot you can do defensively if you don't have enough guys up by the line of scrimmage. They're going to outnumber you when they get that extra running back coming through the line of scrimmage and being a lead blocker for Denard Robinson.
Michigan uses their second timeout. They have 1 remaining, 32 seconds left in the first half. Should Michigan score a touchdown and get the extra point, they would have as many points here in the first half as they scored the entire 60 minutes when they played against UMass 2 years ago on this field.
Eric, this has been an impressive offensive performance and really something that this group needs to build on. As we talked about, you've seen a lot of Denard Robinson, you've seen Fitzgerald Toussaint, and you've seen the offensive line, which in my opinion has been the difference maker, as they're blocking well in both the running game and the pass protection.
Toussaint, the deep back. They give it to him. And he's ridden down from behind. Clock is stopped at 27 seconds. That's Michigan's third and final timeout. Hey, you know what, Derek? I wouldn't be surprised right now if Michigan calls that timeout because they still want to run the football. They're trying to make a statement in this game. We can run the football against anyone. And now with 27 seconds left, you don't have to pass. You could run the football here and still make it back to the line of scrimmage and pass on third down if it got to that. Second down and goal. And a flag comes down.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 on the field. Half the distance to the goal line. Remains second down.
If you're going to have a penalty, you might as well do it right there. You gain about 6 inches. You only lose about 6 inches if you're UMass. Officially a 1-yard penalty. Let's see if the Wolverines keep it on the ground. Option. And Robinson, Stone doesn't make it there. They're going to have to unpile quickly. The clock is running.
Denard Robinson was the ball carrier.
The clock has stopped at 19 seconds. Not sure why. Did the ball come loose? Oh, they're going to give him a touchdown. Touchdown, Michigan.
See, they're trying to run the option, and Denard tries to make the quick decision to be able to get in the end zone. And it looks like the football came out before he crossed the goal line. And it may have been Taylor Lewan that gets back on top of this football.
Yeah, it's ruled a fumble on the field, and I believe Taylor Lewan, number 77, jumped on it in the end zone. Obviously, this is going to be looked at a little bit longer. What an interesting play.
The ball carriers have to be so careful when they try to reach the ball across the goal line, because this is the fear. This can be what happens is if a defender comes in, they see that football, they're trying to get it out immediately. That ball comes out of Denard's hands, and then it's just a scrum at the bottom of the pile to see who can come up with it.
Any doubt in your mind that that is a fumble?
No, I think that's definitely a fumble. It's just tough to say with all the guys surrounding the goal line there. I think it was Taylor Lewan that came up with the football. But you can see right there, the left hand does not have the football of Denard Robinson.
Ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it is indeed a touchdown. We haven't definitively been told who actually scored it. We believe it's Taylor Lewan. A fumble recovery for a touchdown, an offensive lineman's dream. And the extra point. Chance for Michigan to score 42 first half points. Brendan Gibbons. No problem. 19 seconds remain in the first half. And Michigan up 42-13.
Massachusetts 13.
Six different touchdowns by 6 different players so far. Taylor Lewan, congratulations. His first collegiate touchdown.
Gonna find himself in the box score tomorrow. Like you said, Eric, every offensive lineman's dream, somehow, some way, get into the end zone for a touchdown.
Speedway scoring drive. That was methodical. 9 plays, 83 yards, minute 48 taken off the game clock. A Denard Robinson fumble, Taylor Lewan recovery, and 7 more points for Michigan. Broadnax, another return. see how aggressive the Minutemen will be with 13 seconds left in the first half.
Yeah, I don't think you're very aggressive at all here, Eric. I think you run one play or your quarterback takes a knee and you go into the locker room and try to make a couple of adjustments, see if you can come back out for UMass and find some consistency on offense.
Ball is at the 22, first and 10, Massachusetts.
Now, something to smile about, at least for UMass. Their offense was really struggling coming into this one. 6 points in 120 minutes coming into this game, but they have scored 13 second quarter points against this Wolverine defense. So something they can hold their head up about here in this first half of play. Michael Cox with the run that'll end our first half of play. Jake Ryan on the tackle. 30 minutes in the books. Michigan on top of UMass, 42-13. Stay tuned, everybody, for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave, Jerry, and Howard, they're coming up next.
Look into my eyes, I don't understand giving up. Look into my eyes, I don't understand giving up. Look into my eyes, I don't understand giving up. I'm going long, all you gotta do is throw it up. This fella you got on me knows that I'ma show him up. He can back 10 yards, I'ma still blow by. I know that he your fastest, but to me a slow guy. He don't even know how I became a force. I grew up with the attitude to win the only choice.
BTN football is presented by John Deere. The 17th ranked Michigan Wolverines putting up 42 points in the first half of play against the UMass Minutemen. Both teams had made it back out onto the field. Getting ready to get this second half started in a moment. Before we do, let's take a look at our 5-hour energy first half stats.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Michigan. Obviously, the score dictates that, but I can see the average per run, 7.9 yards per carry. That's pretty impressive through the running game. A lot of Denard. You saw Fitz Toussaint as well. Been a good performance throughout the first 30 minutes for Michigan.
Lisa Byington is standing by with Brady Hoke. Lisa, take it away.
Over 400 total yards of offense. How do you describe the half that your offense put together?
Well, we still didn't run the ball very well with our running backs, and you know, we're not blocking the line of scrimmage very well, so we got a long way to go.
Thanks for the time. Eric, a coach is never happy.
I guess not. We shall see. Yeah, those running backs he's talking about. Toussaint, 48 yards on 10 carries. Vincent Smith, 11 yards. It's been mainly Denard Robinson, 106 yards for him in the first half on the ground.
Yeah, coach obviously wants to get better production up front. And that's how coaches are. They want every time they have a running play to get at least 5 yards, be successful. One thing that I liked from that first half is pass protection-wise, that offensive line played really well.
260 yards passing for Denard Robinson. He has a chance to have back-to-back games of 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing. Did it last week against Air Force and was named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Let's go back down on the field while we have another moment. Lisa, what's the latest with UMass?
Well, I talked to head coach Charlie Molnar, who said that he can tell that his defense is very tired right now. They're staying on the field way too long because of Michigan's offense. He said, and I asked him, you know, is there a way that you can even stop Denard? He just frankly said, other people can. I'm not sure we can.
Thank you, Lisa. This UMass team making the transition from the football championship subdivision, formerly 1AA, to the football bowl subdivision. They're not eligible for postseason play this year. Next year, they'll be fully vested, ready to go, play for the MAC championship, and they'll be bowl eligible as well. Here's a touchback. Matt Wild kicks it out of the side of the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 25-yard line.
And Mike Wegson struggling a little bit through the air, and it's a little bit to be expected when you're going against this Michigan defense. They bring a lot of pressure, outmatched from an athletic and a size standpoint, especially up front. But you got to keep battling. That's part of the transition that you're talking about, Eric, from going from FCS to FBS. And guys will learn from performances like this going up against really talented Big Ten teams.
UMass, all 13 of their points scored in the second quarter. And we have got a flag down on the field. Jake Ryan all over the ball carrier, Michael Cox, but we'll have to get the flag sorted out.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 74. Half the distance to the goal line, still first down.
So it's a chop block, second time today we have seen that called.
Yeah, Stefan Milhem is the one that's called. You can see they're trying to go to the opposite side. Number 74 goes low, while his guard, John Wallace, is still blocking up high. Easy call there for the officials.
Speed sweep. And that's not working well at all. Another flag down, just kind of a disaster to begin with. First two plays have been nullified because of penalties.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 74. Half the distance to the goal line, still first down.
That's two in a row. Two in a row with Miller.
Yeah, you can see right here once again. There's a miscommunication that's going on. If you're going to come over and get a cut block, your guard has to know that he has to keep going through, and he cannot be blocking him up top. So for some reason, they're not getting the calls echoed across along the line of scrimmage.
Around the conference, you got the Northwestern Wildcats trying to remain perfect. They are at home taking on Boston College. That's just a 2-point game as they play the third quarter. And an important one for Kirk Ferrett's in Iowa against Northern Iowa. As Iowa a loser last week, they don't want to have an inning snowball on them.
Yeah, definitely an important game for the Hawkeyes. Really got to get some momentum going, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Had high expectations with James Vandenberg coming back at the quarterback position.
Dalvin Battle is being helped off the field. He was the ball carrier on that play just a moment ago. So it's an unusual first down and 28. Ball at the 7-yard line. And Cox is wrapped up. Let's go to Mike Hall in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Eric, you just told him the score. Here's how Iowa did it. This is the third touchdown of the day for Mark Weissman. Remember, the team only had one touchdown in their first two games combined.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it's good to see good things happening out in Iowa City. As the Hawkeyes, double-digit lead once again. Second down. Pass over the middle is caught short gain to Allen Williams. A pickup of 5.
Yeah, there's just not too many calls in an offensive coordinator's playbook when you get yourself backed up in this situation. Now you're looking at third down and 24 yards, and a lot of times offensive coordinators just draw up a screen pass or a draw to the running backs because there's really nothing that you can dial up that the defense not going to anticipate where you can pick up 25 yards.
Delayed handoff. This is Cox. And Cox victimized by the Malachi crunch. A couple of defenders from both sides, Kovacs and Taylor, bring him down. A pickup of 10. So after a couple of penalties, it results in a 3-and-out for the Minutemen. And the Michigan Wolverines will field this punt. Jeremy Gallen back deep. Coulter Johnson, 4 punts in the first half, averaging 39.8 yards per boot. Wolverines set up their return. Not a good kick. It goes out of bounds, doesn't make it to midfield. So great starting field position. First time Michigan will have the ball in the second half, and they'll start in plus territory. Just a 19-yard punt for UMass. 12:27 left to play, third quarter. First time here in the second half that Michigan will have the ball offensively. Michigan in the first half, they ran 40 offensive plays and scored 42 points. They give it to Toussaint. We're on the right end. Toussaint down to the 28. Lisa Byington standing by with Michigan head basketball coach John Beilein and Tim Hardaway Jr. Lisa.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Coach Beilein was actually going to protect Tim Hardaway here from any runaways here on the field. But tell me, you have high expectations for this basketball team. How are you guys handling that going into this season?
Well, I think we do it like we always do. We don't worry too much about the future. Take each day, do the best we can. You know, I love this team. I've loved every one of my teams. This team right now has a lot of potential, but we have a long way to go where we have the team chemistry and the intangibles some of our teams have had in the past.
Tim, tell me how you are going to try to lead this team after you lose a Zach Novak and a Stu Douglas.
You know, I don't think no one could replace the leadership those two had for our team, and it's going to be tough, but whoever's chosen captain or whoever's going to be the leader of this team, we're going to follow behind them 100%, no matter who it is.
Now, across the way, do you even recognize your new home digs there at the Chrysler Center?
4 years ago, I wouldn't have recognized it. We watched every shovel go through this thing. Tim has seen most of it. We showed Tim's videos back when he came, before he came, and now those videos have come to fruition. It's wonderful here right now, and we're going to make the most of it.
Well, thanks for joining us. Guys, off camera, he told me that he would take Denard for the basketball if he's interested.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, Denard says he wouldn't take him up on the offer. We asked Denard yesterday, we had a chance to talk to him. He said, you know what? Basketball's not my game. I just can't play that sport.
Well, Lisa, I'd be interested if you asked Coach Beilein if he'd take Denard Robinson with his basketball shoes untied.
I think Brady Oak is just happy
that he's a one-sport athlete.
He's a one-sport guy. No reason to spread him too thin. He does everything for this Wolverine football team. Second down and 11. 3 consecutive Toussaint runs. You can see where the focus is here in the second half. Now a pass, ball tipped up in the air, dangerous, and it falls incomplete. We should mention, Denard Robinson did so many wonderful things in the first half, but Derek, he did throw an interception that was returned for a touchdown, and he also tried to try to reach the ball over the goal line when it was a touchdown situation, and the ball was knocked out before he got there, and it was ruled a fumble.
Yeah, like I said, there was a really good first half offensively outside of probably 1.5 or 2 plays that you're talking about. Of course, they did get the touchdown, but you never want to reach the ball across and get it knocked out. They easily go to the other team.
Third down and a bunch. Pass is caught. Touchdown. Roy Roundtree. His first touchdown of the season. Seven touchdowns, 7 different players. 9 different receivers have caught a pass. Everyone getting involved for Michigan. Gibbons' extra point is true.
You know, I talked earlier in the first half about a throw that Denard made that he had bad footwork. I got to come back and give him credit on this one because he had excellent footwork. Again, a lot of time by the offensive line. But watch him step into this throw right down the field, and you can see how much velocity he has on that football. What you got to in that type of a situation, that ball had to be delivered on a laser, and it goes right in between the numbers of Roy Roundtree right there. I like the mechanics that we saw on that play from Denard Robinson.
Roundtree's a guy who's been around this program for a long time. Al Borges, the offensive coordinator, saying, you know what? We've got to get him more opportunities. We know what he can do, but we just haven't had enough possessions so far this year to get all of our playmakers touches.
Well, I'm sure these wide receivers understand that in this offense, when you've got number 16 behind center or in the shotgun, that a lot of times when there are designed pass plays called, they're going to turn into run plays, whether that's because Denard sees a seam or because the receivers are covered up. He needs to just tuck it down and pick up what he can. So these receivers understand that Denard still gives them the best opportunity to win games, even when they do have pass plays called that end up being running plays.
Last 4 times Michigan has had the ball, they have scored touchdowns. Take a look at the results of our Twitter poll. We asked who will lead Michigan in receptions in 2012. Devin Gardner leading the way, 44%. Devin Funch is not too far behind. This is the kid. So we're talking the top 2 receivers. According to their Twitter poll, we got a converted quarterback in Gardner and a true freshman tight end in Funches.
And if you're watching the game today, you probably can't make a decision because so many different people are catching the football, but maybe it has a little bit to do with it, the fact that I did predict that it would be Devin Gardner.
And the leading receiver today, Drew Dillio. We didn't even mention him. Here's Michael Cox, the former Michigan Wolverine, the Michigan alum. 7 yards for him. He's had a nice day. Cox has run really hard. He's had a couple of nice runs called back because of penalties, but he's proven his worth.
And what Charlie Molnar is trying to do right here is this game is clearly getting out of reach for them to be competitive or try to win it, but you just have to continue to work on your offense and make improvement. That starts by getting a running game going and see if you can get Wegson to find some results in the passing game.
Clark can't make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Wegson stumbles forward and gets a first down. Freshman quarterback, a pickup of a half dozen.
Well, you can see that he's not afraid to tuck it down when things are covered up. Not the fastest guy at the quarterback position, but as long as he doesn't have that fear to bring it down and pick up some yards, they'll be in good hands.
Courtney Avery coming in off the edge and combining to bring down Wegson. Loss of 1.
A nice job of slow playing it right there by Courtney Avery, which means you're basically just trying to string the quarterback along far enough to where he makes a decision and then you get in the backfield and make a play.
Avery, the nickelback from Mansfield, Ohio. Wegson, this is a designed quarterback run. And he picks up 3 yards, maybe 4. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long.
One thing that Wegson's going to have to remember is that when they spread it out, they get a lot of wide receivers on the field. Michigan is going nickel, and that puts guys like Frank Clark and Jabril Black on the defensive line, are really good running defensive guys. So there's not going to be a whole lot of holes, and there's still a lot of speed on that front by Michigan.
Wegson, nobody home. Just trying to get rid of that football. There's some miscommunication there. The redshirt freshman quarterback was under duress, and it's incomplete, 4th down.
And that's exactly what you're trying to do once you bring pressure. You're trying to have that quarterback make a quick decision, and hopefully there's not a receiver in the vicinity. Good coverage right there behind the pressure by the Wolverine defense.
Sixth punt of the day for Coulter Johnson. Gallen. Swallowed up. He pays the price for not calling for the fair catch. Punt of 47 yards, a return of just 1. There's a flag down on the field, and it's going to go against UMass.
Ball is at the 14-yard line. 1st and 10, Michigan.
Illegal formation, 5 in the backfield, kicking team, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So they're going to re-kick this 5 yards further back from where they originally were.
You know, coach gets a decision. Brady Hoke gets the decision on what he wants to do with the penalty, and that's an easy one because Johnson got off a really nice punt. He wants to go ahead and give him another rep, see if he can get another good punt off and get a better look on the return by Michigan.
That's now the 10th penalty against UMass. Believe it or not, they actually have more penalties than first downs so far in today's game. They have 9 first downs and the 10 penalties. This kick will be fair caught by Gallen, so the decision to make him re-punt is a good one for Brady Hoke in Michigan. 37 yards, no return. When we come back, Denard Robinson back in the game for the Wolverines. Welcome back, everyone. There's a shot of the world-famous Zingerman's Deli. Get there on the corner of Detroit and East Kingsley Streets. One of the cool things there is all of their sandwiches, they number them. And if you can find someone who worked there at any time in their past, say, what's number 89? Everyone always remembers which sandwich is 89, which number's 47. It's amazing. I've seen it done before. We're back here at Michigan Stadium. Denard Robinson and the Wolverines, second time they've had the ball here in the second half. Fitzgerald, Toussaint, nice run, real shifty. Picks up 10 yards on first down.
You can see the dedication that they have to the running game here in the second half. Brady Hoke told Lisa, he said that we didn't feel like we blocked very well for the running backs, so they're coming out with some pro-style sets. Look at that move right there by Fitz Toussaint to make Trey Dudley-Giles miss in the open field. They want to make sure they continue to work on that running game and get Fitz going. You can see he's approaching 100 yards on the afternoon.
Almost 6 yards per carry. He's got 34 of those yards here in the third quarter. Speed sweep around left end. Trying to pick up some yards and out across the 50 to the 47-yard line. Pick up a 14 yards. Norfleet actually used in a scrimmage play. We were told he was only going to be a special teams guy, but getting a chance to show off that great speed he had.
Yeah, another one of those guys that in the return game, they feel like he's going to be really special, but they've got some depth at the running back position. But you can see Al Borges trying to experiment with some things, get a couple different faces into the lineup and see what they can do for the offense.
Under 7 minutes to play, third quarter. Handoff, Toussaint met in the hole and tackled at the 44-yard line. Let's go to Mike Hall in Chicago for BTN.com studio update.
Well, Eric, I'm Mike Hall, but you're about to watch the beautifully named Mike Hull with a U. The linebacker for Penn State takes the fumble 74 yards for a score, and Penn State is just 10 minutes away from giving Bill O'Brien his first head coaching win ever.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Great stuff, Mike. And Penn State's had a difficult time first couple of weeks. Be nice to get that first win of the year. Second down and 7 here. Denard Robinson tackled right around the ankles. Nice play made by Stanley Andre. Scores from around the conference games going on right now. Iowa on top of Northern Iowa by 8. That game is advanced to the fourth quarter. And Northwestern, man, you got a low-scoring affair. Only up by 5 against Boston College.
Yeah, Eric, we got the chance to see Northwestern last week. They've been known for giving up a lot of points on defense. You can see a couple of weeks in a row now that defense is really starting to settle in and hold the opposing team off the scoreboard.
If Northwestern can win, that'll be wins against a Big East team, an ACC team, and an SEC team in the first 3 weeks of the year. Over the middle, catch is made. Devin Gardner close to the first down marker. Just Gardner's second catch of the afternoon. Did score a touchdown back in the first half.
3rd down and 1.
So it's now 4th down and 1. What do you do if you're Brady Hoke?
Well, I can tell you what you do is you go for it, because that's the personnel that's coming on the field right now. And he was looking at Fred Jackson, the running backs coach, and he signaled right away to get a new personnel group in the field. They want to go for it here on 4th and short.
Full back into the game. Behind Thomas Rawls. This is Rawls. His first touch has a first down and more. Oh, Rawls lowers the head and gets an extra 4 or 5 yards. Looking like a young Leroy Horde.
Rawls got a little bit more beef on him than some of the other running backs at 220 pounds. And this is the thing he likes to see right at the end of the run. He likes to be one-on-one and go ahead and make a hit. I'd like to see that. A lot of running backs might run out of bounds, but he puts the shoulder down. Says we're going to play physical here this afternoon.
Taking advantage of the true freshman Jovan Santos Knox. Santos Knox having to come in when Perry McIntyre leaving with an injury. So first down, ball spotted at the 20-yard line. Rawls and Joe Carriage in the backfield next to Robinson. This is Rawls. Leans forward for a pickup of 3. A lot of different weapons for Brady Hoke. On the depth chart, running back wise, he's got Toussaint, Smith, Rawls, Justice Hayes. We've also seen Norfleet come on his play as well.
Yeah, I think there was a miscommunication here. You can see Norfleet and Rawls both thought that they were getting the ball. I think somebody had a missed assignment there. Again, Norfleet hasn't seen a whole lot of snaps on the offensive side of the ball, but just another weapon for Al Borges to try to get into the lineup.
Norfleet in motion. Again, they fake it to him. Pass is incomplete. Gerald Robinson, second time today, he has not been able to come up with a one-handed grab.
Well, we saw the exact same action that time, so I'm wondering if I am wrong, and that is what's designed on that play call, because you saw both Norfleet come across and Rawls came in play action. They went try to take a shot downfield, with the ball just delivered behind Robinson by Denard. .522 yards of total offense for the Wolverines. Line drive, caught. First down, Roundtree. Again, this is encouraging for Michigan. You got a big-time lead, but they continue to work on their offense. They pick up another third down conversion, getting inside the red zone right here. So you have to like what you see out of the Michigan offense, really changing it up, not only with run and pass, but also the personnel groupings that are on the field.
7 touchdowns already for Michigan, scored by 7 different players. I don't know if there's any more options of different players to score. Vincent Smith, right side. Smith, touchdown, Michigan! Vincent Smith, the first Wolverine to double up. That's his second touchdown of the afternoon.
Again, seeing a bunch of different personnel groupings and just the read zone again by Denard and Vincent Smith. It's a couple of blocks downfield. Nice individual play to get into the end zone.
Vincent Smith has been pretty efficient. He's rushed 3 times and scored twice. The Michigan Wolverines have been a polished offensive machine. They've made it into the red zone 5 different times, and each and every time they've come away with a touchdown. Welcome back, everyone. Third quarter here in Ann Arbor. Taking a look at Schembechler Hall, Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. That trophy is now called the Hayes Schembechler Coach of the Year. And last year, in his first year as the head coach at Michigan, Brady Hoke winning that honor. Hoke has now been Coach of the Year in both the Big Ten, Mountain West, and the Mid-American Conference. Let's take a look at today's Quicken Loans quarterback comparison, Derek Rackley.
Well, it's a lot of lopsided here to Denard Robinson. You can see that he's really been successful throwing the football almost 300 yards through the air. Did have the 1 interception, which in talking to him yesterday, he just can't stand interception. Didn't want any more to go in that column. But that's about the only blemish on the record right there for Denard Robinson.
When we were talking to the coaching staff at Massachusetts, the name that always came up when they were talking about this type of player Denard Robinson is was former Indiana Hoosier Antoine Randall. You're familiar with him.
Played against him in my career. Phil Almazian, the defensive coordinator for UMass, said that he's Antoine Randall, but with more weapons around him. And Antoine Randall was one of those guys when he played at Indiana, same time I was there, where he could single-handedly beat you. And that's the same thing with Denard Robinson. If you're not careful, he can single-handedly beat you with what he brings on the offensive side of the ball.
Couple of carries from Michael Cox, trying to reverse his field. He should know better. The former Wolverine knows you can't run away from Jake Ryan. Ryan and Joe Bolden combining to tackle Cox 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to keep it going north and south, and if it's covered up, you just got to pour it up in there and get as many yards as you can. reversing it, especially when you got a defense that has speed, a lot of times is going to work against you.
Jake Ryan's fun to watch, number 47. You watch the game closely, and more often than not, when tackle's made, he's in your picture. Design rollout. Wegson. That's complete. That's a first down to Alan Williams. Derek, is it possible to have an overwhelming, dominant defense here in Michigan when your offense is able to score as quickly as it does? Is your defense ever going to be rested enough just to be able to go out there and get the stops that you need?
You know, I think so, Eric. I mean, we saw that this defense made huge improvements back in 2011, and you basically have the same style of offense, but you just have different personnel now. We talked about the guys that Michigan lost off of that defensive line, Mike Martin, Ryan Van Bergen, and Will Heiniger. Those are tough guys to lose off a defensive front. They've been so productive. They played a lot of football. So that's where the growing is coming right now for this Michigan D-line, is you got to get some more guys experience. Not only guys that have been in the program, but some of the freshmen that we're starting to see for the Wolverines.
Under pressure, Wegson has to just flip it out of bounds. It'll bring up third down, 45 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. Let's take a look at our Polaris hardest working player. It's Jabril Black, junior out of Cincinnati, a couple of tackles for losses.
You know, we talked about Jabril being one of those guys that's a nickel type. He can play in all downs, but he's really excels in that nickel third down package. He's got the speed to get up around the corner, but he still has enough beef to play against the run. He's had a nice afternoon.
Tight end with the catch, Blanche Flower. Across the 50, another first down for the Minutemen. They really like Blanche Flower, just a junior. He has now got 7 catches on the year. This is an offense like Michigan's. They want to focus a lot of attention on their tight ends. They think they've got good ones.
Yeah, they really want to go up tempo, and it's hard to do that unless you have successful plays. You can see when UMass starts to put a couple of good plays together, Wegson gets the guys up to the line of scrimmage. That's the pace that they like to play with.
Gain of 3 for Cox. Time winding down in the third quarter. Let's see if the Minutemen can get another play off. That's going to do it. We've got 45 minutes in the books, and so far it has been all Michigan. Wolverines have put 56 points on the board. 15 minutes left from the Big House when we come back. BTN football is presented by John Deere. We've made it to quarter number 4. Michigan on top of UMass, 56-13. Michigan has held the Minutemen to 200 yards of total offense exactly. Second down at 6. Nice drive here for UMass. Trying to keep it going. Freshman quarterback Wegson throws a nice pass down the left sideline. Caught by former Notre Dame Fighting Irish receiver Deion Walker.
That's good to get him going in the ball game, and give Wegson a little credit for being able to realize the blitz, and he rolls out his play that he audible to the left side away from the pressure.
It's been a good day around the Big Ten so far. No one has lost around the Big Ten. Northwestern in battle right now, only up by a couple against Boston College. First down at 10, designed quarterback run. Wegson tripped up as he picks up a yard. Brandon Hawthorne, part of that tackle. Pressure is on. Wegson has to get it out, and it's incomplete. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Joe Bolden, this guy is just full of energy. Number 35 for the Mason Blue.
It's going to be a force. Yeah, Eric, all kinds of people in the backfield. You saw Quentin Washington, number 76. You also saw Cameron Gordon came off the left side. A lot of people in the backfield right there. Wegsy was just trying to get rid of that football to avoid taking the sack.
Already on this drive, UMass has converted a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 7. This is a 3rd and 9. Another tipped pass at the line. 4th down.
You got to remember that Brady Hoke is intimately involved with that defensive line, so that's one of the things that he's always teaching these guys is when you see that quarterback raise up, make sure we get arms in the air to try to knock down the football. We've seen it a couple of times this afternoon. Guys see it coming, they get hands up in the air. Looked like that was Frank Clark that got his hand on that one.
Another big play for Frank Clark, who's had a real nice afternoon. Field goal unit comes on, and before the ball is snapped, we've got a timeout.
Their first.
UMass using their first second half timeout. Now still more football coming your way here on BTN. Wisconsin looking to get back on track. They take on Utah State. And Indiana, are they for real? They had a big win over UMass a week ago. They take on Ball State without Trey Roberson, who's out for the year. Coverage begins 8 p.m. Eastern. That's tonight right here on BTN. Go to btn.com/gamefinder to find a game in your area. This will be a 45-yard field goal. Brendan Levengood has been perfect so far today, but this is the most challenging attempt of the day. And it's going to be a little bit left. Looked like he stutter stepped before he swung his right leg. And 3 points are missed by UMass. Brady Hoke and Michigan Wolverines, they're still ahead by a bunch, 56-13. Welcome back, everyone. The Wolverines have been pretty darn fierce here on a Saturday late afternoon in Ann Arbor. They lead the UMass Minutemen big as we play the fourth quarter. So big that Denard Robinson, his day is done. New quarterback, number 8, Russell Bellamy. Trying to get him loose, he hands it off. This is Thomas Rawls around the left side. Just a good look at Russell Bellamy, redshirt freshman. He is from Arlington, Texas. Martin High School, 6'3", 202 pounds.
Brings a little bit different to the table than Denard Robinson, but I think that'd probably be safe for pretty much every quarterback playing behind number 16. Did see some action in the Alabama game late in that ball game, but these are good reps for him to get out, experience some game time action, a lot of time left on the clock. You never know when he'll have to come into the ball game.
Justice Hayes, his first touch. He rips off a nice run out to the 45-yard line to pick up a 14. Let's take a look at today's John Deere Gator game changer. Denard Robinson finishes 9 yards away from 300 yards passing.
And 3 yards away from 400 yards of total offense, which is, again, another pretty impressive day. 4 total touchdowns, and if they can get this type of performance out of him for the rest of the season, they're always going to have a chance to win ball games.
Next, responsible for 5 touchdowns. If you remember his one negative play, he threw a pick 6.
Number
Christian
84,
intercepted
5-yard
him in the first half, ran it in
still
for a
first down.
touchdown. Delay of game, you're going to get those type of calls when you've got freshman quarterback in the game.
I'll take a look at Denard Robinson throughout the afternoon. I mentioned one of the things at the top of the telecast I wanted to see was to make some improvements in the passing game, and I think we absolutely saw that today. You know what he's going to be able to give you in the running game, but they've got to be able to come a threat throwing the football through the air, especially if they get a tight ball game where they're behind. I think they made some progress in that phase.
Right up the gut, Justice Hayes bangs forward for 3, maybe 4. Hayes is a redshirt freshman from Flint, the Northern High School. Denard Robinson, just one of the many highlights offensively for the Wolverines. Touchdown in 5 consecutive possessions. That's active. 5 for 5 in the red zone.
That right there is what will make coaching staff's very happy. When you get down in the red zone, you put points on the board and score touchdowns. Makes all the coaches happy campers.
Bellamy steps away from the pressure, throws it up, and out of bounds. Did we see enough out of Fitzgerald Toussaint? They said that they wanted to get him 20, 25 carries. He only got 15. Did he get his work in?
Yeah, I think he did. If you ask Brady Hoke, he's going to say that he didn't get enough going for him. But I think they wanted to make sure that he felt comfortable running the football, saw some success today, which I think you did. When you had Denard Robinson running the ball like he did, it's really hard to take the football out of his hands.
Michigan has a team with over 250 yards rushing. But you got to remember that 106 of that coming from your quarterback. Bellamy steps up in the pocket. He had a first down easily. If he could have gotten away from Hafiz Williams, and he can't. Williams, a transfer from Notre Dame, finishing out his college career in Amherst, Massachusetts. So Michigan, they're going to have to punt it for the first time since the first quarter. Will Hogger has been just hanging out. Gonna have to earn the scholarship now here in the fourth quarter. Ball is loose. And it appears as if Michigan has jumped on it. Michigan ball. Brian Dowling, second time today, he has muffed a punt. And for the first time, it costs him. First UMass turnover on the day, and Michigan has the ball back in scoring range. On the recovery for Michigan, it's the fullback, Paul Giamatti, with the fumble recovery.
Well, this is one way to get yourself off of the punt return team, is show that you're shaky catching the ball when the opposing team punts. As you mentioned, Eric, we saw a couple of the balls on the ground today. So anticipate Charlie Molnar to be finding a new punt returner next week.
Thomas Rawls, another carry, a pickup of 4. UMass next week, they're going to start their first season in the Mid-American Conference. They're going to take on the Miami Redhawks in Oxford, Ohio. Charlie Molnar's team in year 2 of the transition from FCS to FBS. They don't have as many scholarships available as a Michigan does. They're just trying to get up to speed at the 1A level. And of course, Michigan, their next week is going to be much anticipated, as they're going to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are off to a real nice start so far in 2012.
Yeah, they got a big one tonight going up against Michigan State, but anybody that tuned into that ball game last year will know that this Michigan-Notre Dame game is going to be exciting no matter how the teams are faring as far as their record goes.
Talk about exciting. How about what's going on in Evanston? Wildcats trying to hold on to a 2-point lead over Boston College. Rawls spins forward for another Wolverine first down. Rawls looks like a lot of running backs that Wolverines have trotted out there in years past. Just to me, he looks exactly like Leroy Horde. Remember Leroy back in the late 80s? .5'10", 218 pounds, full of energy and power.
You're always looking for that guy that you can use in short yardage and goal line situations that upon contact you can trust that he's going to be able to keep those legs moving and pick up an extra yard or two to move the change.
Quarterback no, he's down. 2 inches away from the goal line. Didn't know he had it in him.
You hear the crowd here not too happy. Good Bellamy running the zone read right here, not afraid to pull that football out and get into the end zone. See that right at the end, looks like, I don't know if anything came down there.
So the game continues, second down and goal. And there is the Michigan touchdown scored by Justice Hayes. Eight different Wolverines have now scored. First career touchdown for Justice Hayes, a 1-yard run. 6 trips into the red zone, 6 touchdowns for Michigan. 8:24 left to play. Michigan, with their most impressive performance so far this year, they lead big over UMass. BTN Football is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. By Verizon. Call ** NFL to get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile from Verizon. And by Case IH. Be ready with proven leadership. To learn more, visit caseih.com /4 is greater than 2. 63-13. Wolverines on top of Massachusetts by 50. 8:24 left to play. Michigan, they have scored 9 touchdowns by 8 different players. Only person who's doubled up, Vincent Smith. Why not? Broadnax brings it out of the end zone. Broadnax out to the 26-yard line.
Jordan Broadnax returns the kickoff.
Here's today's Verizon Key Connection.
Well, first it started with Vincent Smith with the nice block in the backfield, and then we saw Devin Gardner tiptoe the sidelines to get in for the touchdown. But what I like to see is Roy Roundtree as a wide receiver out there fighting for one of his fellow teammates to spring Gardner into the end zone.
First time today, a quarterback other than Mike Wegson in the game for UMass. This is A.J. Doyle. He, like Wegson, is a freshman. Hands it off to Chris Burns. Let's go down on the field. Lisa Byington with more on Denard Robinson.
Yeah, Eric, his day might be done, but still watching him, he's still very active there on the sideline. You can see the headset still on. He was one of the first people to greet Russell Bellamy when he came back to the sideline. Very interactive with his teammates. In fact, offensive coordinator Al Borges said one of the major changes that he has made is he's giving me even more input when he has the headset on. He's very instinctive, but what he won't do is ask for a play. What he will do is tell you something about the game that will help you call the next play.
Oh. Thanks, Lisa. Derek, you played in this conference for 4 years. Situations like this, your team's got a massive lead. What's protocol on the sideline? What are guys doing on there? What do they talk about? How focused generally can you be?
Well, the guys are excited. They're celebrating a little bit inside, but coaching staff never wants to see too much of that going on until the game's over. But for these guys, there's a lot to be proud about. Season hasn't gotten started as far as their performance on the field the way that they probably wanted to, especially with the expectations that have been set here in Ann Arbor. But this is a good performance that they put together this afternoon. Again, both sides of the football. We saw offense scoring a lot of points, defense keeping UMass out of the end zone in the red zone. Again, that only touchdown came on the interception from Denard Robinson.
And Derek, something else that Michigan accomplished today. If you're Notre Dame and you're getting ready for Michigan next week and you're looking at this tape, all of a sudden you see 8 different guys scoring touchdowns. You see everyone involved offensively. There's a lot to game plan for if you're the Fighting Irish thinking about this Michigan offense. Best one of the day. Norfleet driven back to the 12-yard line. Norfleet looking for some room. Oh, if he can get to the edge, he's got a chance. And now the Cavalry catches up with him. It takes a whole heck of a long time, but he finally is brought down. Punt of 53 yards, return of 11. Brady Hoke has figured things out here in Ann Arbor. His Wolverines on top by a half a hundred.
Y'all can't touch us, recognize shorty. Matter of fact, I'm tired of talking to you. Drop and give me 40. Let's get it
Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's been a fun afternoon, you'd imagine, for Cooper Barton. You just saw him on the right side of your screen. We had a chance to talk to him and his family back in the first half. Lisa Byington interviewing them. There's Cooper, right-hand side of your screen. The family is from Oklahoma, and they made it all the way here on the University of Michigan dime. Remember the story where Cooper wore a Michigan shirt to school, and that was not approved of, and he was sent home, was told to turn his shirt inside out. Dave Brandon, Michigan athletic director, finding out and said, you know what? We're not only going to give them T-shirts for him to wear to school, and when they do allow that at some point, but we're going to bring them all the way here to Ann Arbor to see a game.
And bring him down on the football field and let the 110,000 strong here at Michigan Stadium cheer him on. I think it was a classic move right there by athletic director Dave Brandon.
Ball loose on the ground. Michigan fortunate to get it back. Backup quarterback Russell Bellamy falls on top of it.
Even when you get a lopsided game like this, is something that you don't want to see, is balls on the balls on the ground by your quarterback trying to run the zone read.
Stay tuned, everybody. Dave, Jerry, and Howard will be along for the State Farm post game. They'll have scores, highlights, and analysis of all of today's games. We should mention Russell Bellamy is the first quarterback to replace Denard Robinson in today's game, but should they need someone because of an injury or what have you to Denard, there's no guarantee that Russell Bellamy is the number 2 on the depth chart.
Yeah, coaches said that they would reevaluate. Bellamy would finish a ball game. You see he ends up getting sacked on this play. Bellamy would finish a ball game if he would have to finish for Denard Robinson, but then the coaching staff would have to reevaluate whether or not Bellamy coming in or Devin Gardner will give him the best chance to win.
We've already seen how effective Devin Gardner can be at his new position. Caught a touchdown pass with that rangy 6'4" frame back in the first half. Gardner was a big deal when he came out of high school. Just can't get much playing time behind Denard Robinson. Understandable. First time today that Michigan has had their quarterback sacked. And how about this for a punt? Oh my! Inside the 5! Oh! At the 3-yard line, Will Hogrup. That'll be his punt of the season. An absolute howitzer shot. Gotta break out the calculator, figure how long that one went. 74 yards.
You know, we haven't had a chance to see a whole lot of the Michigan punt team, but if you don't get very many reps, this is how you take advantage of it, right?
9, and what an amazing finish that one was.
Here today, but throughout the rest of the season, there might be a time when Will Hogrup needs to come on the field and change field position. That right there is the definition how you do it with the punt team.
He's not going to get 74 total yards because it did hit the returner, so it's a net of 74. But the punt itself is only listed as a 60-yard.
Only 60 yards.
Under 4 minutes to play. Jordan Broadnax getting a run from scrimmage. This is the second series for A.J. Doyle at quarterback for UMass. All right, what's going to be something that Brady Hoke and his coaching staff are going to be really focusing on over the next couple of days as they get ready to take on Notre Dame?
Well, continuing to make improvements offensively, limit the turnovers. When you're going to face big-time opponents, the easiest way to beat yourself is limiting turnovers. We've seen a couple footballs on the ground. They did get recovered by Michigan, but the interception is a play that if you go against a Notre Dame or some of the other Big Ten foes down the road, that could be the difference in a ball game. Always got to secure the football, and then just continuing to make strides on the defensive front and then the entire defense. But that, in my opinion, that's where they need to have the most growth, and they got to get some guys healthy back in the linebacking crew as well.
Yeah, no Desmond Morgan today, but Joe Bolden and James Ross III, both having pretty significant games. A lot of hits. Joe Bolden was kind of unleashed. He was in the backfield quite frequently. He was doing a pretty nice Jake Ryan impersonation with the way that he was harassing quarterbacks.
You know, Eric, you never want to wish injuries upon anybody, but the chance that you talked about, getting Ross, getting Bolden into the ball game, that's valuable reps to build depth in this linebacking core, which will help them later on in the season.
Northwestern has scored another touchdown. They now lead Boston College by 9. Iowa continues to lead. Northwestern trying to go to 3-0 with wins over a team from the ACC, the SEC, and the Big East.
Cam Gordon on the tackle.
I think Northwestern next on their schedule is South Dakota. We're looking really good going to 4-0 in non-conference. 2 minutes left to play. A little note about UMass. Their most famous alum in terms of football playing alum spent a lot of time here in the state of Michigan. Greg Landry, Detroit Lions first round pick back in the late 60s. Spent a long time as a quarterback playing for the Lions. Currently in the NFL. Victor Cruz won a Super Bowl with the Giants. He had the salsa dance. State Farm postgame show coming up immediately following the end of our game. Scores and highlights from around the conference. It's been a busy day. UMass going to be able to stay on the field. Brian Dowling with a catch on the pass from A.J. Doyle. Not very frequently that you'll play a team like Michigan is doing right now, and both quarterbacks that they face are freshmen, a redshirt freshman and a true freshman. Talk about no experience at that quarterbacking position.
Well, and that's the challenges that Charlie Molnar faces, trying to grow as a team and grow as an offense, as you're trying to do it under the leadership of some really young football players.
Jamal Wilson, his first carry of the day. Clock continues to move, under 50 seconds left.
Second and 2.
Still hitting going on. Marvin Robinson comes in from the safety spot and rides Wilson out of bounds. 23 seconds left.
Hey, even the second group coming in, these guys are looking for more playing time. That's one way to do it. You come up late in the ball game and make a stick on the ball carrier.
Clock is moving, under 10 seconds. It's maybe the final play of the game. And that's going to do it. The Michigan Wolverines, they pitch a shutout in the second half, and they win this one going away. 63-13, the final score. Michigan above 500 at 2-1 on the year.
Good performance all around, offense, defense, and even on that late in the fourth quarter here, nice punt by Hagerup in the special teams phase.
9 touchdowns scored by Michigan by 8 different players. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show. That's going to do it from Ann Arbor. Final score is 63-13 Michigan. For Derek Rackley and Lisa Byington, I'm Eric Collins. Now let's send you to Chicago for the State Farm postgame show.